I think.
Hello,
I think we're
everybody.
live.
I think we are. Welcome to Clapfoot After Dark. Now, if you think that our Clapfoot After Dark logo is a little bit boring derivative, well, maybe we have some other companies for you. There are giants in the gaming world that are even worse than we are. We're going to talk about that today. Hi, I'm HP. This is Matt. And this little weird fella in the box here is Max.
He likes to live in a box. I don't know why he just
I
lives
really
there.
do.
He just lives there. He's always the same. He's always in that room in the box.
It's so weird. I don't know what.
Oh, you know what I'm reading, HP? I don't know if you've read it. I'm reading The Color of Magic.
Oh yeah, of course I read it.
Yeah, I
Terry
figured
Pratchett is
you're
one of
a
my
Terry
favorite
Pratchett
fucking
fan.
yeah.
And the fucking little the imp in the
The photographer,
yeah. he reminds me. You may not have any idea what I'm talking about, but
Have you read Terry Pratchett, Max? Discworld series?
No.
No? It's really fun. It's a really good. He's a very good writer. He did all these amazing all his books are social commentaries on the stuff that was happening around the world, but they are all based on this fantastical world that is like a complete, absolutely magical world. Like it's a disc. It's literally a disc. So flat earthers will be correct on that one. And everything that he does, like he does a take on Hollywood, he does a take on Christmas, on unions and stuff like that, and it's all based on like this fantasy world. Is really fucking funny. It's amazing. Sir Terry Pratchett, by the way, he was knighted.
oh really? Yeah, it's one of the only books that has me like laughing out loud like while I'm reading it.
Oh my
I
God.
usually don't find books funny, but anyhow.
I've been
That's why
reading
Good Omens
Mist.
is so good, because of Terry Pratchett contribution.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Didn't they
'cause
get made into a movie at some
Good Omens or
Yeah.
or Discworld? Both.
Good Omens?
Both of those were made into TV series. Discworld had several adaptations from BBC, some of them better than others, none of them amazing. And Good Omens had a pretty big adaptation last year by Amazon, I think. I think it was Amazon, if I'm not mistaken.
Good Omens?
Good
Right.
Omens, yes.
Yeah.
It was really good. Martin Sheen and David Tennant were Crowley and Aziraphale. It was really, really nice. Did you guys see it?
I couldn't get into it. I think it's like a very like British style of like
It's
humor.
so British.
But I couldn't get into it. I wish there was a Discworld show though. I feel like it'd be hard to make.
I mean, again, they did like a couple of TV adaptations of the Discworld
They're
series.
probably like very low budget.
They're not, they're not amazing. There's a couple of like direct-to-TV movies as well. You know what I mean? They're good, but not amazing. Anyway,
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, Borges. I don't think I saw Good Omens on Netflix. If I saw it, I would have definitely.
no, it's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken, or
That's too bad.
whatever it is. But it's good. It's worth watching it. I think the book is still better, but it's really, really good series. We're actually going to talk about something that
Another kind of series.
has another kind of series. So that's a great segue. Thank you very much. Moving on into stuff coming up, we wanted to talk about the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox that are coming up, particularly because I mentioned our logo, their logo.
The PlayStation 5 logo is perfectly fine, guys.
Did you see the PlayStation 5? Okay,
I don't understand. Can we get into this like right now? Let's
Okay,
just
so
get right
let's
into it.
bring it up to people that don't know what we're talking about. Like, what is the thing we're talking about? Look, this is the PlayStation 5 logo. And it was really fucking funny because there was this whole like pomp and circumstance ceremony to unveil the logo, and it's literally the PlayStation 4 logo changed the 5 to a 4. And people were going fucking insane about the fact that like, oh my God, somebody got paid to do this, and like an intern could have done it in 5 minutes and whatever. That's my stupid voice. And I was like, you know what? They have a brand. It's on fucking brand.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I think if it was anything else, I'd maybe be disappointed.
I don't know.
What-
Man. What do you think, Max?
You should chime in on this.
Yeah.
My friend had had a lot to say on this, but basically the only problem that I see with this is that, like, as long as people recognize that it's different. Like, if you saw this on a shelf, are you gonna like glance over it thinking it was a PS4, or are you gonna immediately recognize that the 5 is? I don't know. This is the only thing I could think of. Other than that, like you said, like I don't care. It's like it's a logo. It's like the Windows logo. Like they change it sometimes. I don't know. I don't notice.
Yeah, I think that like there's something to be said about like at least the PS5 logo is different, and then for instance when we had the whole Wii and Wii U debacle, in which people wouldn't know the difference. Like, sure, it's kind of like the same logo, but I think the whole point is that branding is important, and as long as you're communicating your brand properly, people will understand that. With the Wii U, the problem was that they didn't have all the ancillary things that would help them understand, like, oh, hey, this is a new product. It's not just another Wii add-on product. You know what I mean? Like, we had already so many weird-ass like peripherals, everybody thought that the Wii U was another peripheral.
So what's really funny about that is I had said to my I think it was for Christmas or something. I had said to my niece, I'm like, what do you want for Christmas? And she said, I want a Wii. And this was a couple years ago. This was like a couple years before the Switch. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I want a Wii. And I'm like, what about a Wii U? And she was like, no, because I want to be able to play like Skylanders or whatever game she was into at the time. I can't remember what it was. And I was like, but you can play that on the Wii U, and it's newer.
And it's better.
And she's like, no, I just want the Wii. And I'm like,
okay, it's gonna be $50 on a thrift store.
I'm like, okay. I just ended up giving her my Wii U anyway, and I showed her that it works the same way. But it was like, it was one of those. It was exactly, if a kid doesn't know, then you're doomed.
Particularly on a kid-friendly brand like Nintendo, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's I think that's a cardinal sin if you don't.
Yeah, my friend was in charge of marketing for Nintendo on Western Canada, and he was saying exactly the same thing. Like he would often, like he had to book the events over at like the Playland and stuff, and people would come in to try out Mario Kart, and he'd have to remind them, oh, it's on the Wii U. Oh, okay, well, that's no problem. But it's the Wii U, and they had all these things that you'd have to shove in their face to make sure they were aware that the Wii wasn't the Wii U. Oh. And they had a nightmare time with.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. I think that also brings up to the next one, in which we have Xbox, and they announced the Xbox Series X, right? And everybody's complaining that it's a weird ass, like Microsoft doesn't know how to do branding, because they had the Xbox, then the 360, then the Xbox One, and then now the Series X, which is fair. I think that but here's the thing.
Sorry.
One thing that I found out not too long ago is that Xbox Series X is not the name of their new console. It's kind of like it's the name of their line of consoles coming up, because the new Xbox generation, it's not going to be the Series X. Series X is the name that they're using for that particular whole like suite of applications, and I think that's fine.
Actually, no. Series is the name. The Series X is the high-end model. There's going to be a Series S, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're just calling it Xbox now. They're changing to like an iPhone branding, and that's what is being done in the interviews. And one of the big reasons, like, people are like, why don't they just call it the Xbox 4 or whatever? And the reason is because they're behind their competitor. You can't. PS5 is 5. You can't say the Xbox 4 because it looks inferior. That's why the Xbox 360 was not the Xbox 2. And it makes a lot of sense. And we didn't really complain that much about the Xbox One X, which
I mean, no, come on. It was pretty fucking terrible. I'm so sorry. I mean, it was not amazing. It could have been better. It's just, I think that it's complicated when your names start getting confusing. I do have a problem, for instance. I know you made a comparison with the iPhone. Right?
I think the Series X is confusing. I'm going to be honest.
Well, we had X. I forgot about the One X. That's a problem, right? Like, we have Xbox One, Xbox One X, and then Series X, and then Series S. But we do have the Xbox S, which is the slim.
Yeah, there's the Xbox One S.
So
and I think there's the Xbox 360 S. I think
that one was just called Slim, right? No, Slim is for PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
I think they
that's
might
a problem.
have done that.
And iPhone is. I think that Apple has a problem with their branding sometimes as well, in which I don't know what the iPhone X, SL, XR, GRTH is. You know, like at some point you're like, Jesus Christ, just use words. Make me use descriptives. You know,
I actually like
English is a beautiful language.
It was called the Xbox Scarlet for a really long time.
It still is internally.
Yeah, and then there's some other name that's really cool. Their internal names are cooler than the names.
I know, right?
But I think it's to make it look like a classy device. I think that's the idea. If I had to guess, I actually like
Scarlet, but it's such a classy name.
It's just ironic because they made it look like a computer, like literally a
It
tower.
is a computer, right?
I mean, I'm gonna buy
what
one.
the hell?
I'm definitely gonna buy one because I like Xbox, and I have an Xbox One X now actually, and I like it. The one exception, but but I won't get into it. That's mostly just a me thing. But so like I'm gonna buy it, but it is going to be very big, and I hope it can sit horizontally. But
It can.
They
already said it can.
You've seen my my display cabinet. It's not that tall.
But
quite
it's
low.
it's quite large.
It's wide, but
Yeah.
I'm worried about the height of it. But I could probably put it behind my TV.
No, but if the pictures are somewhat correct, the width and the depth of it are about the size of a controller, right? So you can bring up the image. They cannot see the image.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So as you can see, like the width of the box is about the size of a controller. So that would be about this width. If you turn it sideways, yeah, that's not too bad, you know. I think it'll be fine. And they did say that yes, you can put it sideways, so that should be fine.
Well, then it should be fine.
But
That
it's
was my only
interesting
concern.
that they're going the opposite direction of like what I think Nintendo did, whereas they're starting to make things smaller, more portable, almost like it shouldn't even exist there. And I think that that's the right direction to be going, because like when you look at the PC market now, they're looking at things like the Nux, right? The small little boxes that are just computers in a tiny little what is like a ring size box. And the idea is you can like plug it into the back of your TV. But the problem that it's been facing is that it doesn't have any peripherals. You need to like buy a graphics card and connect to it, and then you need to buy your keyboard and connect to it. And you get all these wires going to the small little box behind your computer. But all of those things are things that people already get for these consoles. So I don't know. It's escaping my understanding why it is they need this to be so big.
I don't know, man. I think that your solution in that case, if you don't want wires and anything, is Google Stadia.
Erg, get out of the chat.
I know what you mean. I think that, I don't know, I kind of like, for instance, I have a Switch, right? I love my Switch, but I think that as a portable console, it's the least portable thing ever. Because if you really want to like have the docked experience, you have to bring the dock, because there's no way that you can just plug a USB cable underneath it and stuff like that. So at least with something like the Xbox, or the PlayStation, you know it's dedicated. There's no arguing about it. And I love the Switch. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great console. But I think sometimes it gets a little bit murky, and then it got a little bit more murky when they developed the Switch Lite, right? In which you cannot even use docked. So it's like, well, what are they going for there? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that Xbox Series X is a little bit of a weird path to go. Like as a naming and branding, I think it's confusing. I think it has been confusing ever since it was, to be honest, ever since 360. Because like, what does it mean 360? It means nothing. It's just like a large number. And if you think about it in angles, you just like go back to the same place. So it's kind of like weird for me. But,
well, I mean, yeah, like from a logical perspective, 360. They should have called it 365 because then it's like every day,
or something like that. or yeah, that's it. That has some meaning behind it. And then they go to Xbox One. Which, okay, so are they resetting the counting? No, but why? I think Microsoft has a little bit of a problem sometimes in which they just like buzzwords.
Well, to be fair, it hasn't really hurt them. I mean, the Xbox 360 was
the
arguably
Xbox One would argue that.
The Xbox One is higher day-to-day sales than the 360, which was the leader in that generation. So I'd hardly call it, a failure at all.
Not a failure, but not saying it doesn't hurt them.
I don't think the Xbox One. I think they had some PR problems early on. That's what really hurt them. Not so much the branding. I think the Xbox Series X. I think one of the things that will be the real test is when it's starting to have commercials and how they promote it there. Because this was at a video game event that they announced the high-end version of it that, like, I'm probably going to buy, right? But the average person is probably going to buy the S or the lower end model, or even the cloud box, because they have their cloud streaming service.
Yeah.
So
which is really good.
The X Cloud, which actually is a great name.
Yeah.
Talking about names, and they have a box that's going to be just for streaming that, which is going to be probably the most purchased thing if I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's like the Windows has its own issue with marketing their new versions as well. When you look at like Windows ME, Windows 2000, Windows Vista, Windows 7, then like they clearly have no idea what they want to do with their naming conventions. But to their defense, at least it seems that everybody kind of knows what they are. So I mean, maybe they know something we don't.
You're right. Who are we to say anything if their marketing team, they have only the whole world as their as their pool of people that they can use as a reference,
Yeah, I guess like to that point, who the fuck are we?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, like,
wait.
I guess like. Sometimes global marketing is an enigma, and we're creative people, so we think like, what's the most like pizzazz, like what like is the catchiest thing? Like we're all like Xbox Scarlet, yeah, but some people might be like, it's a fucking what is that? Like, whereas this looks like a sleek device. The logo treatment is minimal and sleek. It reminds me of a phone. In that way, and people know how good their phones are, or
I guess so.
I don't know. There's maybe some logic there, and the PS5 logo as well.
I mean, the PS5 logo, I think it's totally fine.
If
like
you can go back to the PS5 logo real quick.
Yeah.
The PS5 logo as well is like, it is like what Max was saying. The only real opportunity is that. For error is that it could be confusing. Otherwise, it's a brand that is instantly recognizable among people who play a lot of video games, especially coming off the PS4, which is wildly successful. So.
I have nothing bad to say about the PS5 logo, to be honest, except for the a little bit of kerning. I think I would join a little bit more of the P with the logo, but I don't know.
But you're a graphic designer, so
no. But they want to keep the original. The original. They literally didn't change anything, and I think that's fair. Like, if it works for them, it works for them. There's nothing we can do. Who are we to know to say otherwise? Apparently, we named our game after a gay dating app. So,
no, it's the other way around.
They named it after our.
I really like to. I really would like to think that somebody in the writing staff of Silicon Valley. Played our games like constantly and really loved it.
Oh my god! I have a bot that like peruses Reddit looking for like references to Voxel, and obviously it comes up with a lot of things that are like related to like World War II and things. But then it comes up with this Silicon Valley thing. I just had to stop looking at it. Like they're more popular.
Yeah, no, I almost. I did a double take. I couldn't believe it, and I almost fell down laughing. It was so ridiculous for me.
Don't look for it.
No, we're okay.
Trying to do a Windows update.
Oh, please don't do a Windows update right now.
So for those who are wondering, Silicon Valley did an episode in which Foxhole, like they have an app named Foxhole in this episode that is a gay dating, and that's what we're talking
for military people.
It's for military people to cheat on their wives.
Yes.
I don't think it's a gay dating app. I think it's for.
I've never watched.
Anyway,
I watched it.
It's something to do with.
It's really funny. It's really fucking funny. I was really surprised.
But it becomes a major plot point, and it's
Yeah.
really funny.
Okay, so we're gonna move on because we have something else that I thought it was interesting as well. Because if you're not content with like the way the next generation of games is coming along, and you think that that the gaming console war is ridiculous, there's good news for you. NASA just found another planet that you can eat yourself there. And apparently it's in a habitable zone, and it's very, very close to Earth. Only 100 light years away.
Before you get into actually talking about this topic, I have a serious question for you and everybody in the chat.
For me.
For you two.
Oh.
And everybody in the chat. If you could go to a new planet right now and colonize it, would you?
Yeah.
But you can never return, and you'll probably die there.
I know Max answer. Yeah, I know he would.
Gotta get away from these guys.
I would do it in a goddamn instant. And I'm sure a lot of other people would too. But I would do it right away. I'd be like, okay, let's do it. Because then you're either part of history or you're going to die.
But I mean, one way or another, you're part of history.
One way or another, you're part of history.
Most likely will die. I don't know. I think the kind of stuff that I want to be remembered for, I don't think is the kind of stuff that I would be able to do in a new planet. You know what I mean? I don't think I would have heaps and heaps of paper available for me to fold on a new planet. So
you can make the paper. It's a new planet.
You know how fucking hard it is to make paper, man? It's hard. I've done it before.
Well, yeah, but I mean, eventually there'll be technology for it.
Fair enough.
It's not like you're going to go in like a pilgrim, like with horses and like we're beyond that.
Realistically speaking, okay, in that scenario, what kind of technology do you have available when you arrive there?
Well, when you first arrive, it's probably going to be on. Sorry, Max. I want to hear what you have to say.
You're right. Like, why the hell would we bring paper to Mars or any? Like, what possible reason could we have to bring paper? It's heavy, and we have like digital copies of everything now. You can't easily scan it. Like, it requires all this extra stuff. There's no reason to bring paper.
Papercraft, no origami. No. I'm out, man. I'm out.
Well, I don't need a paper to do some of the stuff that I want to do, so so I'm okay. I think it'd be really hard. I'd have a really hard time getting my wife to go with me, but
and the internet connection would be shitty.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care so much about that. Actually, I wrote a story once about a colony going to another galaxy, to another star, the closest star to us, which is the Alpha Centauri star, right? Which is light years away, and in the story, light speed technology is not available. It's kind of a more grounded sort of story. So there are multiple generations that had left to live on this fleet, and so the story takes place in the middle of it, where these people will never see land. They were born and they'll die on the ships.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool if like they did find a habitable planet along the way, but it was not the mission, so they did not stop. But people who wanted to leave and colonize the planet,
they're like, hey, I'm good here, man. I'm just gonna
could go. And I was like, what would their lives be like? Because they would have nothing. But if we were to colonize something, anyway, that's not the point. What I was gonna say is the internet or communications would actually would be delayed because of how far away it is. By like several years. Like maybe communications technology has developed to a point where it is faster than the speed of light or close to the speed of light, so you don't get it immediately, but you get it like a few days beyond where when it was sent. And I could see that kind of technology being developed for like point-to-point sort of communications, but I definitely don't know about anything else.
Have you read the series, the Ender Games, Orson Scott Card's Ender Games? Not the Ender Games is the first book, but I forgot the name of the whole series. The first book is very different from the rest, basically. And the rest of the books are mainly about colonization and things like that. And a little bit of anti-gay propaganda, because the guy is a little bit. Anyway, one of the things that allowed them to colonize one of the main technologies that allowed them to colonize the planets in the series is actually the fact that they developed a way of communicating faster than light.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole point.
I feel like that's the first step. right?
Yeah.
Because
I think
anyway.
you know how in Star Trek they have that the one of the episode, the main plot line is that the humanity or discovers warp drive, and then the Vulcans come down and then they visit, right? You guys are familiar with
I don't really know anything about Star Trek. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know only as much as I absorb from this insane office that everybody is like aficionado about Star Trek. But so I know a lot about it now.
Only osmosis.
My girlfriend also loves Star Trek, so I know a little bit about that.
I think Gene Roddenberry's definition of science fiction is that you're allowed to break the laws of physics for one specific thing, and for Star Trek, it was warp. Everything else should be realistic. But for warp drive, that was what determines that a civilization is now ready to be a part of a larger galactic community. And my feeling is like, what if that moment for humanity isn't actually warp drive, but actually it's this light speed communication? Like, so all of a sudden, like we make a discovery where suddenly we can start pointing a laser at planets and we can immediately and instantly communicate with that planet. And now it's like, then like that would be our entrance into the interstellar community. But what I think will happen would be, in that case, we would point up laser at a planet, we discover, oh my God, there is life out there, and all they want to do is play video games. That's my theory.
I would play video games with an alien.
Right?
Absolutely. That I would do in a heartbeat, man. That would be so fucking cool. I think about it a lot because...
why travel to another planet if you could just play Call of Duty with them? Like, what's the...
Well, what do you mean? I like Earth. I enjoy Earth. I enjoy the stuff that I have on Earth. I don't want to leave Earth, but...
You don't know what else could be out there.
But if I can play video games, then I'm pretty sure I can WhatsApp the guy, and then he can show me.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, I'm hopping on the next light speed tube.
Okay, then he can come visit me. I am all for an exchange student. But I myself wouldn't like to live on a new planet. Like not if I cannot come back. No, that's my thing. I guess I like Earth enough that I want to stay.
So let's talk about this actual like news story that we haven't gotten to.
Oh yeah,
because I fucking derailed us like crazy.
No, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Particularly because I was thinking a lot about it, like because okay. Sorry, I'm gonna
block the notifications.
I wanna do a little bit more.
Great.
I don't care. I think a lot about like that. Like you say, like, oh, how would it be to like play video game to an alien and whatever, and if you can communicate with a different alien race. And I think it's really interesting for me is that I was been thinking about like we as humans, human species, reached a point in which we consider ourselves conscient and able to rational thoughts. But if you think about it, we are the first ones that did it in our planet. We know that we have other animals that are very close to that, but we cannot. It's hard to measure our own understanding of ourselves and being able to do these kind of thoughts that we have. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's interesting when I think about, okay, so what is the next step? Because if we're so limited in our brains that we can't even fathom the next step of what consciousness is, like talking to an alien, in which for them it would be talking to like us talking to a dog or talking to Coco, like what can they tell us?
It might
and how
be more,
much they can fuck me over in Overwatch.
It might be more like they're talking to a dog. But
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Not like we're, because we're probably, yeah.
But that's my point.
We don't know.
But we don't know because our limit of conscience is what we know. We don't know if there's another step. So we don't know if we are, for them, the equivalent of what a dog is on their notion of self-reflection and their capability of understanding themselves and their universe, right?
I also think
this is kind of a joke, but kind of not. But like that whole thing about what if you can connect to an alien species using a laser and then you play video games with them? I think a consciousness, you could infer meaning through like a virtual medium. Like if they just like if they're jumping up and down, like we do that all the time. Now, granted, we have a lot of things we can relate to when we talk to, say, somebody who doesn't speak English. Like they will point at things, and we have like reference for that, and they won't have that reference. But I think even with like if you somehow manage to connect a fish up to like an MMORPG, like they might be able to. Like you might infer some kind of like understanding from that.
Fishes. Yeah, who knows, man? That's what I'm saying. I think it would be a very interesting interaction for us and for them, probably more for us, most likely. Just don't want to go live on a new planet. But anyway, let's talk about the thing that we came here to talk. Okay, so NASA has several different, not just NASA, but other space agencies around the world. They have different planet searching, how do you say, missions? Like, I guess. They did find one particular exoplanet that it is in a habitable zone, and it is not far from Earth. And they were able to confirm that it is like a very much Earth-like planet. The next step, of course, is determining the proper composition of the planet and everything. But finding one so close to home, 100 light years is very, very close in galactic terms. It's actually pretty cool. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, 100 light years is like a stone's throw when you
It's
consider
nothing,
the
right?
scale of the universe.
And the fun part about this is that first this planet was mischaracterized because there were some problems in the reading of the star, and they thought that the star was much hotter than it actually is. And then when they corrected the errors, they were able to see that some of the interference they would see on the luminosity was actually caused by a planet that would then, in that case, considering that the star is actually much colder than our sun, was actually sitting in a habitable zone. I don't know, man. I find this kind of stuff fascinating because the more and more planets that we find that could harbor liquid water, and the only thing that we know that could have life nowadays, in our understanding, is having liquid water, means that life in this planet might be just a fluke. And we don't know.
Well, I mean,
maybe not a fluke. Sorry.
For the kind of life that we have on Earth, because that's another thing where we don't even know. Like, there could be other sorts of life that are fueled by other things.
Like
but for
silica bays, or.
I mean, that's why sci-fi is really fascinating, right?
Yeah.
One of the things the two things that you need are light and water.
Yeah.
And carbon.
And heat.
And carbon as well.
Yeah.
I mean, light. I guess light kind of infers heat.
Yeah,
I would argue.
I guess in this case.
And so if we can find those things in a reasonable amount, because I think it's really complicated, because I think Earth is, as we know, Earth is very fragile in terms of the balance. If we were to be knocked off orbit, there's a really good book by George R.R. Martin that is about a planet that gets knocked out of orbit. And it is a rogue planet, and the whole book is about the people on the planet preparing for the end of the planet, and it's really dark. But what is the word I'm looking for? The things that are required for there's a better word for this, but the things that are required for life, the requirements for life,
basic necessities.
Yeah, the requirements for life are very. Have a slim margin for error. Mm-hmm. So if we were to ever go to a planet to colonize it, it would need to be pretty much just like Earth. And the odds of that happening in the universe, there is going to be another situation just like Earth, but the odds are low.
But that's what what this finding puts to doubt, because if they found a planet in which, since considering that they also like the odds are low, like I think it's Dirac's equation, right? The one that talks about like the number of living alien species in the universe. If the odds are not as low as we thought, considering the space, just the vastness of the universe, that means that life would be not as low as we thought as well.
I definitely think there's a higher chance that there's another type of life that we cannot fathom.
A higher chance?
Yeah, that we cannot perceive due to our limited sort of range of like understanding of or ability to perceive. Like, there could be, let me just put it this way, next to Max there could be sitting some being that we just are unable to capture due to the inability to understand the rays of matter that it is comprised of.
Okay.
It is entirely
Yeah, I'm
possible.
pretty sure I have one of those living in my sink.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure we all do.
That is black mode, and you should take a look at that.
Look, man, my wife is no longer living with me. I'm living the bachelor life again, okay?
Because, like it or not, our imagination might not be as strange as reality. And
Yeah, of course.
it's often the case. And
Reality has a way of really surprising us.
we often, when we use our imagination, reflect our own species and experience in one way or another. That's why most aliens are sort of humanoid in nature, because it is like, oh well, they must be like us to be intelligent. So that it's like such a common thing. That's why I like shit like X-Files, because X-Files is just like weirder. It's just, what if there isn't a way to really understand it, and it's just like, this was a strange event, and there could be the universe is so insurmountably vast that there is no way we know even a fraction of what is possible. That's my theory. I'm gonna stop.
That's
I'm gonna
fair.
get off my soapbox.
What about you, Max? I know you're a science lover, a space lover. And a
Well, I mean, also
aficionado.
because all of our sci-fi guys are humanoid, is because we don't want to spend more on. But
For some reason, they always have latex ears.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It reminds me of an Outer Limits episode where the Velociraptors are the space. Like they took the animatronics from the Jurassic Park and they put them into space, and they were like this alien space raptors that were like teleporting humans around. I just thought it was pretty great. You like if we expand our horizon to what we think is possible and what we constitute as life, I think there's an argument to be made for a lot of different things. My stepsister actually argued recently that plants should be considered as conscious living beings. And now she's not a vegetarian or anything like that, but it's interesting that if you put yourself in the right frame of mind, there's an argument there. It's not one that can have much ramification for our daily lives, but it's interesting to think, like, there are plants that recoil in pain. So there are fish that we only until recently we've started to we've determined that they feel pain, as opposed to before, when we just assumed that they didn't. And it comes to our references to what do we perceive as pain being a like our perception of pain is different from most animals, and if we can define what that is, or if we cannot define what that is, then really anything is possible for what might be considered cruel.
Isn't that the Gaia hypothesis? Or something I think it's called something like that, in which the whole planet, we're just like, we as humans are basically like the microbes in our gut, in which we're keeping Earth alive and things like that, or killing it.
Or killing it in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, there's an argument as well to be said about I saw, I don't know, an iPad somewhere, to be said on a similar note about the internet as being a living, becoming a living thing, because we humans are just we are the basic parts of what makes the internet work, but it's this huge mesh that also is globally encompassing as an entity, you know? Who knows? Maybe it is, maybe it is not. Maybe it's all a simulation and we're living on some aliens Xbox Series XYZ.
I mean, isn't that the whole
What is
premise
going
to
on?
Pandora?
Why is there...
Where is that coming from? Is that coming from
It's your office.
Whoa!
What was that?
Why is there sound suddenly?
And why is it... I hate...
We haven't been able to get sound from this PC
Since forever.
since forever. And now suddenly... That has to be our new theme song.
Don't question it. You fixed it. You fixed it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Can you we'll just play a stream of Brody Quest?
Anyway. Yeah, this is...
I feel like we could literally sit here and talk about this.
We could talk about anything, but I
forever.
think I'm gonna move us on, because we have one more topic that I think, since we are talking about controversial topics anyway, and I think this is a topic that is Max is a little bit more has gonna have a pretty nice input in. This is a topic. This is something that let me bring up the link. That's not what I wanted to do. That is stolen openly. There you go. Thank you very much.
Can I go over?
So yeah. So this is basically his communications lead. He's basically a community. I guess a community manager would be like an equivalent at Foxhole, and like in Clapfoot, it would be like Max.
This is our Max.
He is our Max, basically. He's the communication lead at Riot Games. The guy, if you guys don't know, the person that does this is the company that does League of Legends, a pretty big company. And about a week or so ago, or something like that, he came up with this tweet thread in which he was talking about what were the methods that Riot used to approach a very thorny topic. Because basically, they wanted to talk about new video games, they wanted to talk about new projects they were doing, and they knew that between those topics, among all of them, there were topics that the community that has played their game, and Riot has basically one game going on for them right now, like that it's their like main focus, was a game that they would not be interested on. There were some other things that were also completely, they might be interested on, but might not be for their players anyway. So this is a whole topic on how they approach that. And I think they drew comparison to what happened to Blizzard last year, in which they're like outside of the problems that they had with China and Blitzchung and things like that. They also had a problem. Oh no, sorry, the year passed. It's not even that year. It was like the year prior on BlizzCon 2017, right?
2018.
18.
Yeah.
The one in which they announced Diablo Immortals, which was, of course, a huge debacle. So yeah, it's a really nice tweet thread. It's really interesting, their approach, and I think it's something that Max has a pretty interesting input as well. So
Before we get started on that, we didn't actually talk about this, so I'm just going to quickly cut back.
Cool.
HB,
Yeah.
What are we drinking?
Oh, sorry.
We were supposed to talk about this up front,
But I forgot.
And mine's like empty. But HB made us a drink, and so can you explain what it is? Max was asking earlier, but I was going to save it for the stream.
Okay, so I made for them caipirinha. Caipirinha is a traditional Brazilian drink made with cachaça, which is the Brazilian spirit. I made a variation of a traditional caipirinha. Instead of using limes, I use lemons, Egyptian lemons, and rose pepper, which is absolutely delicious. And I recommend for everybody that has a chance to try it. It looks beautiful because all the flecks of red. I mean, mine is also gone.
You can't see it now because we forgot to show it off.
But
next time.
But next time. But yeah, this is absolutely delicious. I love caipirinhas. It's one of my favorite drinks and one of the things that I love making.
So that's going to be part of the show.
And that's not even. It's not fair because they get a drink from HB when he makes them, and when they get free chocolates, they don't send me. I get none of this.
Yeah, we got free Valve chocolates.
We send you our love.
That's going to be a part of the show. When we start the show, we're going to talk about what we're drinking. I promise you, as long as we're not sick or something, HB and I will be having a drink, whether it's he made it or not. But we're going to have it, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm making it a part of the show.
I'm going to try to make the drink every time, but who knows?
It might just be a can of cider. Or
I love making drinks. By the way, I'm a bartender.
Yeah,
Anyway,
HB makes everybody drinks all the time. Okay, so
Max, take it away. We're talking about problems with moderation, basically, and announcing shit.
I think what. Okay, so this article, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, is it doesn't really talk about moderation or anything that's really relatable for Foxhole and in this respect, but it does do a really good job with communication. And actually, I don't perceive my job as being a lot to do with PR. And I think that's really what this article tries its best to underline, is that I think there is a very big difference between marketing and community management. And my friend and I get into arguments about this all the time, that community management is a branch of marketing, and it's true to some extent. But what separates it for me is that when you're creating a community, you're not trying to sell something. The product you're trying to sell is the community itself, not the game. And I think that's what a lot of this stuff talks about. And I think if you guys read it, a lot of the stuff seems really simple. Like, own your bullshit. Like, if you're gonna do something bad, make sure you're honest about it and open. Lean into the memes when people start bashing you and like memeing. Like, the example they give was don't any of you guys have phones, right, from Blizzard. Leaning into that and just owning it and just trying to have fun with it takes away its power. And I think a lot of so anyway, the bottom line is, I think a lot of you guys know these things, and it's easy to just read them and go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But speaking as somebody who's sort of come into this role and is sort of feeling his way through it, it's not as simple as they make it out to be. And I'm sure, like Matt and HB, you guys have had just as much experience with this as I have. It's you can't just there's no one size fits all for all of the problems that come up. But seeing an article like this is really important because it reinforces something you can't reinforce. When it comes to things like level design or programming, you can go onto a forum and somebody will have well documented out the steps and the best way to do it. And there's easily quantifiable things that lead you to a conclusion that, this is one way and these are the advantages. But with community management, I can't say I've handled this instance really well and then write an article about it, and then everybody else who comes across this instance is going to be able to use it. So just having these articles written is sort of a way for us to say to our bosses, not Mark specifically, but for community managers in general, to say, hey, I'm actually going to ignore this complaint. I think it's the right thing to do. And here's at least some articles of similar situations that have come up that might reflect how this is going to go. And so,
or conversely,
it's just,
or conversely, sorry to interrupt, but or conversely, like, there's this really complicated situation that at first I didn't know how to handle, but maybe we can tackle it the same way the League of Legends guys did. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's it. I was sort of like rambling there at that point. But I mean, you guys have had experiences with this, dealing with the community as well. HB, you were basically a deity at one point.
Like, was a what? Sorry?
Talking about leaning into the memes.
I know, right? I think it worked really well, actually, because at that point, I think the only reason why that happened was because before Max, thankfully, took the mantle, I was the community manager. So I was the one receiving all the shit that he usually gets nowadays. And mind you, that the community was much, much smaller, so I got way less of that. But because of that, like somebody, I know who it was, started bringing up like, oh, HB is our god, and this became a huge meme in the community. And I was like, you know what? If I want people to at least seem like have like a different approach to me, that's fine. I'm gonna go with it. I have no problem with that. I quite enjoy having the powers of a god, to be honest. I'm like very self-centered anyway. So it was a lot of fun. And I think what you said is very much right. Like, you have to lean in. You have to be honest. You can't. Here's the thing. Everybody in game development know that players can smell bullshit like from a mile away. Yeah. They know when they're being played. They know when they're being lied to, and they know when they're being fed a line that is from a PR team. Everybody knows, and we as developers, we also know that. So I think that the problem, like the Diablo Immortal thing happened, is that I don't think that Diablo Immortal is a bad game necessarily or anything like that, but they cater to the wrong audience at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong message, right? So if they were catering to their public, which was not the people that were at BlizzCon, it would be different. But because they were doing that, they were pushing just a PR line for them, which is not good. I think as long as you have to keep it honest, and I think that highlighted that you cannot try to pull a wool over their eyes. You know, you have to keep it honest. You have to, and you have to own up. Like the first thing that Ryan said in his tweet thread was that they have to own up to their mistakes, right? And I think that we try to do it. We know we screwed up before, and we try to make sure that we don't. But
For sure. I mean, we're human. I think that's like
every talk about you. I'm a god, motherfucker.
I'm a human. I'd rather be a human. But yeah, I mean, we're only human, and we're all only human, and like, you know, it's really funny because like, just as a bit of like musing for a second, the Teamfight Tactics, which they were afraid to make,
Yeah,
they were afraid to announce, was like one of my favorite games last year. So I'm glad that they didn't just not make it due to the fear of like backlash, and instead figured out a way to release it. Like, I wonder how many times something like that has happened. Like, oh, someone else has done this, or oh, it won't go over well. I don't know. That's kind of sucky.
Which is interesting because
I would love.
Sorry, go on, Max.
I would love for you to elaborate on that, Crosskeys, what you think about. You said you are in a different position than these companies. Exactly what? Oh, you're on a scale where you can actually have one-on-one conversations with players and touch the player base without getting swarmed. And you know what? I think that's very true. I actually went to a talk though with one of the community lead for. I can't remember. I think it's Obsidian. They had a talk at PAX Dev. Anyway, he was a much larger studio, AAA studio, and he was talking about dealing with the community. And he actually just showed us examples of like tweets that he would have, because they do everything through Twitter. And a lot of their responses were sarcastic and joking and not serious. And he was doing these to like very serious complaints about their game. And what I thought was really interesting about that is that it is scalable to a point, and the AAA companies can do. But you're right. As a smaller company, we can have one-on-one conversations with players. But even a AAA company, I think, recognizes that it's still important to have those, even if you can't do it on the scale to reach everyone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree.
It's an interesting topic that we don't get a lot of an opportunity to really talk about, which is I think why we were kind of attracted to talking about it on this show. But like, I think, you know, when we started talking about Foxhole, and we, you know, one of the first things that we were concerned about, this was before we had a game, it doesn't exist without a community. And when we learned about Discord, I think it was Alcast's idea actually, or Mark's. It was one of the two of them. I'm gonna guess it was Alcast because
I think because he had the contact or something like that.
We adopted Discord pretty early, and the community was built almost entirely on Discord. That's why a lot of the Foxhole Discord is that's the place where it all lives, right? And one of the things that I think I know you and I have talked about this, but that you and I especially really wanted to do differently was to talk to people. Yeah, it was not to have a glass wall. Glass wall would mean you can see us. A steel wall in front of us. You get the reference. Because that's what you get with every other game. Yeah. But I was like, what if there's a miscommunication and we just say, here's the reason there was a miscommunication, and then there isn't one anymore. And it doesn't always work, especially as our community grows. I think it's harder and harder. I can speak for myself.
Oh, message always gets lost, right?
Yeah, the amount of fake news is insane. And I know, Max, you probably deal with this constantly, but...
Oh my God.
Particularly in regards to like when things are coming up, like either right before or right after an update. Gee.
It's insane. So I'm constantly always in there. Like, so I'll just peek in and someone will just say something matter of fact and be like, oh, that's really stupid. Why are they... And it's like...
The dev said that now it's going to be first person. It's like, wait, what?
It's like it happens almost daily, and it's like that's just the way the internet works, and that's I think that's the harder part now, where before it was really easy to like read every message on the Discord. Anyway,
Foxhole Mobile.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, that was a funny joke.
People
though. I like that.
Messaging me.
We're gonna move on now.
Still wants our Foxhole Mobile.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna open up for some questions. See if you guys have any questions in the chat. Something that is not Foxhole related.
Yeah, we won't answer Foxhole
Or-
questions.
Things that are either for us or about stuff that we talked today.
It can be about anything. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
about
it doesn't have
topics.
to be. Just we're trying not to answer questions about. And no, we're not gonna have Fox Mobile anytime soon.
We should get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, though. I would be okay with that. Raid Shadow Legends, if you're listening,
Call hit us up.
you can get my email really easily.
I would like though having like I know that we joke about Foxhole Mobile a lot, but I would still love to have like a mobile app.
I want to make
in which like you can like do some logi stuff while you're on your mobile, and then knowing what is happening in game and being able to know what is happening with like at some resource facility or something like that. That would be really good.
There actually was a Foxhole app for a while.
the yoga ball is in here. It's,
yeah.
Someone asked who's the hipster who sits on the yoga ball. It's in the office so that sometimes you don't want to stand and you don't want to sit. You can sit on the yoga ball.
It was actually better before we had standing desks. Now that we have standing desks, now it's great.
Sorry. With regards to a mobile game, I think I would want to make a card game, or I'd want to make like an auto battler style of strategy game. Those are the two things I'd really want to make if we were to make a mobile game. I think you and I have worked kind of loosely, mostly you, me mostly on the theme, but on like a board game, and I think that would be really fun too, maybe even to translate to like a mobile game. But I don't know if I'd want to just do like Foxhole like on a phone. I don't know if that would be as fun. I think I'd want it to be a different thing.
Foxhole as a whole game on a phone would be hard, but I think that like something like a companion app would be really cool. And yeah, so I saw a question by the Coconut, and it was if we had a Christmas party. Yes, we had, and I missed it.
Yeah, HP isn't there. We went and played board games with HP though.
But yeah, so we try to always have a Christmas party every year, and,
which is great because they try to include us remote people too, right? So I got to play last year. We played Warcraft 2. We had like a office party where it was everybody played against each other Warcraft 2, and this year we played Unreal, and it was awesome. But holy crap! I cannot believe how far games have come. It's really cool being able to play those games again because you can't find a community to actually play them with. So having like just 6 or 7 guys in a room playing a game that's 20 years old, 30 years old is like, it's really eye-opening. Like you can't select more than 9 units in Warcraft 2. Like what the hell?
Yeah, no, it's insane. I'm terrible at those games, so every time that we play together is just like, oof, it's so I'm more of a board game actually, and I know we ended up doing it was because there was a couple of people that were not able to be at the Christmas party this year. We had like a small gathering. It was supposed to be a small gathering on the Monday prior to Christmas, and we were supposed to be it's gonna be like 3 people just to play some board games, and it was like almost the whole office, which was quite nice. We ended up playing some nice board games there.
Yeah, and we played more. We played Codenames, and then we played more of it when we went for a Christmas party.
That's what you guys played?
Yeah, because everyone liked it so much.
Codenames is a great game. It's a game in which you have to find spies, and I think that I guess in the end we always do games. Well, first of all, they have to be games for like 12 people or 10 to 12 people, right? And we try to do games in which like we have to interact with each other a lot.
Yeah.
So this year we did Codenames. Last year was Secret Hitler.
We did Secret Hitler 2 years in a row, actually.
And also,
and
didn't we do Resistance? No.
We didn't do Resistance.
No?
We did Secret Hitler, and we did... we just played poker.
Poker is cool.
Maybar asks who got the highest... I wanted to answer this. Maybar says who got the highest frags. We split the teams for Unreal Tournament into programmers versus artists.
Phil is always there.
It's Phil. But the programmers just mauled us. The entire art team was just getting steamrolled all night.
Well, first of all, Phil in particular is a goddamn beast. He's really, really good. And then the other programmers are not also not bad at all. So they usually destroy the artists.
Yeah, I'm not good at old school FPS. So
My first FPS was Overwatch, so you can. I want to challenge Phil to Overwatch. That one I can.
Coconut Nut. I'm good at like more modern games like Rainbow Six. I'm good as like a stretch. I'm more proficient than those older games that we played. So no, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
whereas the rest of us are only good at good games.
anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you very much for joining us on the Clapfoot After Hours. If you guys, what?
Clapfoot After Dark.
After dark. Sorry, after
Get it?
hours is what happens after dark.
Branding, yes. Clapfoot After Hours is the video you guys don't get to see.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions for us, please send us any questions. We have the channel on the Discord open, Clapfoot After Dark. You guys can talk about what we talked today and ask us questions and things like that. So send us questions for the next one, maybe topics that you guys would like to see us cover. Again, the only thing that we try not to do is we try not to answer things about Foxhole because that's why we have the dev streams.
I would also say like we probably won't get into like politics and stuff.
Yeah, like we're gonna stay away from politics and religion in general. You know, that's not. We all have different values, and everybody has different values.
Yeah.
So it's not. Maybe it's not the thing that we want to do. Anyway, but anything else? Any nerdy things that you guys think that we might not like? Believe us.
Might not like? Yeah, specifically let us like rant about it.
Yeah. There's probably something that we absolutely will talk about. Just so you guys know, we're gonna try to do this every other Wednesday. So starting from this Wednesday, skip the next week. Next Wednesday at 6 p.m. on twitch.tv/Clapfoot or Clapfoot Game.
Clapfoot.
Just
Super
Clapfoot.
easy.
Twitch.tv/Clapfoot. Yeah, I think that is it. This is gonna be archived on YouTube. It's gonna be on the Clapfoot YouTube as well. I know we screwed up on the first one. We lost the recording, so we don't have that first one archived. But this is as was so much in vogue on 2019. This is a soft reboot, and we're gonna start over from this one. How does that sound?
Yeah, we screwed up.
We screwed up. Yeah,
That's as simple as
owning
that.
up to. Isn't it right, Max? Owning up to our mistakes.
Yeah, we're gonna redo the Sonic animation. We're gonna fix up the cats 3D, and then we're gonna and we're just gonna re-really.
Exactly. That sounds fantastic.
There is one thing I want to add.
Okay.
That wasn't planned.
Okay.
HB, where can people find you?
Where can people find me?
Where can people find you if they want more of you that isn't on the Discord and isn't
my
on
God.
this podcast?
I'm gonna put my Twitter on the screen, but it's my Twitter is HB. It's spelled AGEBEE, like an old decrepit bee. Yes.
Max, where can people find you?
Discord primarily. You can find me on Twitter, but I don't actually know it right now. So
Well, we can
I do
find
post
Max
stuff on it
we
occasionally.
can find Max on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at northernpixels_.
The underscore is important. And
There's another Northern Pixels. You'll probably find me though. I'm like the
Yeah.
most active one. But anyway,
And I think that we also have at least the two of us also have some Twitch. Every once in a while, I Twitch, I stream something, usually something very stupid.
it's been 2 years since I've done it, so I'm not
Okay,
gonna, I'm not gonna
so
promote
forget
it.
about that.
I think that's it.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Max. Once again, thank you very much, Matt, for joining me.
Thank you
and
for the
thank
drink.
for everybody for joining us. And see you next time after dark.
Stay sexy.
Okay, we don't need the stay sexy part.
Oh, we're doing
We're gonna have to talk
It's
about this.
happening.